live. Alright, here we go. Okay. So, welcome stream. Hello, hello. We are, oh, I'm tired, man. I'm so tired. I'm worn out, man. Tired and worn out. Can't wait to meet God. Gotta be careful saying that. You know, it's a sin to be suicidal. Alright, so this is a pretty neat site. It's got a whole bunch of like simple, like very basic, simple questions that kind of help you learn Clojure. Actually, the problem I was working on last is about 100 problems. They're very simple problems though, but they help you. Somewhere in here is Fibonacci. There we go. Yeah, so this is my solution, but there's a much better solution which goes something like, you get this function. Alright, so this asks, function that returns the first x Fibonacci numbers, right? So for the first 3 you get 1, 1, 2, first 6, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and the first 8, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. Now what we can do is write a function that takes an argument, and an argument that gets destructured into x, y, right? And then what you do is you're going to return or AB, y and x plus y, right? And what's going to happen is you iterate over this function starting with this starting point 0, 1, right? And then what's going to happen is each time you iterate, so this is going to give you an infinite sequence where you have 0, 1, and then the function is applied to that 0, 1, which then gives you 1, 1, which then the next iteration would take the 1, 1, destructure it, and print out 1, 2, and then 2, 3, then 3, 5, etc., etc. Right? You can do it this way, and then what you're going to want to do is map second each of these values. Now this is still a lazy sequence, and then what you're going to want to do is say you're going to take, so make this a anonymous function, which take percent. So take percent means, so this is the, did I do this right? Function, iterate, map, take. This take percent function means that you're going to give as an input to this anonymous function some value to the right, 3 as example, and then you're going to take the first 3 of this sequence, this lazy sequence. So this is a sort of an infinite sequence, but it only generates the values when you actually take from them. If you do that, let's see if this works. Match delimiter on this, I overdid it. There you go. So that, someone had a similar solution. I didn't think that up on my own, by the way. I got that from someone else. But this also works too. Oh no, it doesn't. Oh, excuse me. Uh-oh. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. But this is the one that I came up with originally, which I thought was okay, but it's kind of bad actually. Now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of bad. to test this locally. Can get rid of all this stuff. I don't really need. This was good for when I was testing the what do you call that? Testing the hacker rank problems. But yeah, it's cool. You can do this. Have you ever seen that before? Multiple cursors. Yeah, it's pretty good. It was pretty good for the hacker rank stuff, but less good for pretty good for the hacker rank stuff, but less algorithm stuff, but less good for these sorts of problems. Having all this extra what do they call that? Having all this extra code. What language do you prefer to do coding interviews in? Hello, what language do you prefer to do coding interviews in? Hello, Michael Lynn, hope it is going well. Welcome, welcome. And forgive me, I'm in this kind of awkward, like I've got a bunch of things on my mind. I want to go to sleep. Not that I want to go to sleep, but I'm sleepy. And I'm trying to keep my voice down because my dad is normally right above me trying to sleep at this time, so I'm like conflicted, but if you don't mind, we'll make do with my less articulate state right now. I prefer Python. I think Python is optimal. I actually think Python is the best. I would even argue for most applications, Python might be the best language. Reason being, if you use PyPy, interpreted Python, it's extremely efficient. It's very efficient to write. It's very efficient when you actually execute the code. Like development time could be about 5 times faster than something like C++. Yet the code itself only runs like a slightly slower. Did you move back home? No, I rented a home with my dad. He's very sick, so I want to spend sort of to. I don't want to dampen the mood too much because he actually went back to the hospital today. But it's kind of like I want to spend, the last time that I have with him. I want to make sure I'm here. Yeah, and it saves some money for me, which is kind of nice. But if I sort of continue to achieve, if I can find a better position than I'm already in, then I really shouldn't worry so much about money. But I definitely, I want to spend time with him because he doesn't have a lot of time left. But yeah, thank you for asking. So, what was it? Yeah, I would say Python's the best. And I think C++ is very good for like highly performant applications, but things that are sort of don't need to be that fast, but you want to code it up quickly, Python. And particularly coding interviews, Python's like the best. I think it's so good. It's extremely expressive, extremely easy to use. You can get things going quickly. Yeah, for interviews, I'd say Python. I would even say for like most applications, PyPy is pretty good. The only problem you end up with really is like for seriously performant things, you're going to want to use C++ almost every time because it's just so much faster than everything else. Even though C++ has a pretty tremendous amount of like maintenance cost and also what's the other thing? C++. Actually developing in C++ takes a lot longer as well. It's just more details. It's more complicated. But the bonus, and it doesn't run on a JVM either, so it's like every single machine you have to compile for that particular machine and operating system, which is a pain in the neck. Yeah, C++ is, and it can get pretty unwieldy pretty quickly too. You get like millions of lines of code in C++. It's just, it's a lot. It's very expensive, I think, in terms of maintainability to do things in C++, even though but it is optimally performant. I think better is, or at least something I want to try is programming some backend programs with like OhCamel, because functional programming languages are a lot easier to maintain, I think. But first I want to learn Clojure, and probably use Clojure for like Clojure script for front ends, and then like web front ends, and then OhCamel rather than Clojure for the back end, and then yeah, go from there. Although you could also build your if you're building an application, you could build it in C++, the front end, but like I said, C++ is just extremely, it's just really expensive, I guess. It's performant, but it's expensive. I feel like, I don't know, it's hard. It depends on the use case. Like, you're dealing with things like games, you kind of really need to pay the price and do things, you know, sort of as efficiently as possible, performant as possible. But if you're doing things that are like, don't need to be that fast, that performant, you're probably better off with something like OhCamel. Or, well, I don't know. I'm conflicted. But yeah, there's a lot of design choices as far as like which languages you pick for which use case. But coding interviews, I think it's like hands down Python. It's just really good. You could use JavaScript too, I think. I guess JavaScript, Python, maybe even Ruby. Although for me personally, I prefer Python. Yeah, it's kind of a lot when it comes to programming language choice. There's a lot of detail, a lot of stuff, a lot of trade-offs to consider. Anyway, so if we run this, we should get the same thing. So let's do 2, 4, 7. Let's go. See what this looks like. Alright, now what I wanted to do, I wanted to see what this looks like if I swap these, because someone has suggested to me on the forum, I was looking at other folks' solutions, these solutions of other folks, and this was an option. This is a viable option. Or it seemed to be. And I wasn't really sure how that happened. Aha. Interesting. If you do this, I think that'll be nothing, right? I don't know how take works. If it has a start and end range. I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. Yeah, Interesting. The solution, yeah, let's go look at the solutions. Because we'll find it there, we'll see it. Yeah, this is the one. Oh, I see what he did. He swapped these two. Clever. Interesting. So what he did was he put this way. So you can use, because these are vectors, map second shouldn't really be any less efficient, but if these were like sequences, then map first would be what you want. And yeah, this gives us a similar thing. Yeah, like I said, I didn't come up with this one. Oh, that's not going to compile. Let's try that again. Try that again. Haven't seen any jobs requiring Clojure. You ready? You ready for this? You gotta look. There you go. Clojure jobs. Boom. You gotta look in the right places, my dude. This is probably the one that I want to go for. This one. These are also possible as well. Maybe this one, this one, this one, and oh wow, holy smokes! Whoa, yeah, there's some good ones here. But yeah, you gotta go in the right places, you know. There's lots of stuff out there if you look. Also, what did I just do? Wait. Oh. Uh-oh. What happened? The thing about Clojure too is it's kind of niche. Same thing with like OhCamel. Like there's so the thing about, I do want to learn about OhCamel as well. If you look at OhCamel, you'll notice there is, oh they didn't, okay, yes, community. Oh, did they remove it? What happened? Wow. They used to have, I don't know, I was looking at it just the other day. Hold on. Can I find it? Okay. Well, what I wanted to say, so OhCamel is a functional programming language, as is Clojure. So learning OhCamel and Clojure shouldn't be too difficult to go from Clojure to OhCamel. And another upshot to OhCamel is, oh man. Where'd it go? I wanted to see I thought they, wow. I feel like they changed something here. The reason why I want to bring up OhCamel is that, okay, I guess I have to look for it directly. So Jane Street is a company that uses OhCamel a lot. Basically OhCamel is so rare as a language that that you're kind of like, not that you're guaranteed a job, but it's extremely niche, similar to Clojure. And Jane Street pays fairly well, as I understand. They're quite they pay well, they do well. How do they do FPGA with OhCamel? How does that work? Kind of want to learn that. But what that implies is like it's a very high-paying job and a very secure job because it's so niche, and it's obviously they're very effective with what they do. So that's another one. Like, learn Clojure to find similarly like niche and high-paying secure jobs. OhCamel gives you this a similar kind of deal, and yeah, kind of like functional programming is sort of a little more popular now as well. So, but that's one reason. So it's not so much that there's a lot of different jobs, it's that they're kind of like curated almost, that it's very niche, so that like there's not too many other people that, like, if they find someone who's proficient, like, they're gonna want them probably, and they'll pay. And like I said earlier about functional programming languages, like, according to Google's SRE book, maintaining your software consumes about 40 to 90% of all the resources you ever spend on your software. And functional programming languages like OhCamel and Clojure make for extremely maintainable systems. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's one of the. It's kind of hard to measure that, I think, but I believe it is, and so there's a tremendous value in that. So yeah, there's like they're willing to pay, these companies. Yeah, but anyway, there's yeah. So you don't necessarily need to have a lot of different jobs. It's more like if you find jobs that are pretty good, then it's kind of worthwhile. But how did he pull it off? I have no idea. And there's apparently like a just stroke of luck that they use OhCamel. It's pretty funny. Kind of random. But yeah, I thought that they literally had Jane Street just right on the front page here for a while. I could have sworn I was looking at it like a couple days ago and I saw OhCamel I saw Jane Street just right here. It was like, who uses OhCamel, and then Jane Street was there. Anyway, okay, let's return to what we're actually doing here. That's kind of neat. So he actually he swapped these two, and that was how he was able to. But what happened to mine? ABA. Oh, I see. Ah, that's why. This is X, should be. Or no. Wait. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because the one, right, this is now on the left side, the larger. So the smaller one's going to be on the right side. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, as you can tell, I didn't come up with this one. It's the difference between, like, looking at someone else's solution and coming up with a solution on your own. The solution you come up on your own, you like really know it well. The one you copy from someone else, you like stumble and fumble with it. I was wondering why you're not learning Node and Java full stack, but I see now. Yeah. I'm familiar with Node and Java, but I'm yeah, I'm familiar with Node and Java. Not extremely, like, I'm not really familiar with like the Java backend stuff, like Spring Boot kind of stuff you might use. Oh, this is kind of cool. I should point this out too. A couple things to point out. But Node, I'm pretty familiar with Node now because of there's just a lot of stuff at my job that uses Node. I don't know, a lot of stuff, but enough things to like use it here and there. I've also written a few things that use Node. I like Node. It's pretty cool. Definitely like Clojure script too is pretty cool. Clojure script I think runs on Node. It gets converted to JavaScript from Clojure. So, oh yeah, this is cool. So this is something fun. These are all like libraries that you could find for Clojure, which by the way, like, I didn't even know such things existed. This is kind of like, not just tools for Clojure, but like tools in general that programmers use that like there would be equivalent libraries in other languages for the same tools. So actually this isn't just like a Clojure toolbox, this is also an enumeration of like tools that programmers should know about, which is pretty cool as well. So I found this and I was like, I like that. These are things in here I didn't even know existed, you know, like you could just sit here for probably an hour and just go through what is this, 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 and just kind of review it in your mind what these things are supposed to do, what they mean, right? Like some of these I don't know offhand. Like this one I don't know offhand, don't know that offhand. I can guess what that means. Not really sure what that is offhand. Not sure about this one either. This I can guess. Compression, I think I know what compression is supposed to do, but I really don't know, you know, like exactly what it does. Right, like getting an idea of what these things even mean. Not just in Clojure, but just in all different languages. This is probably something like CSS preprocessing, maybe. I don't know. I know what that is. CSV. It's comma separated values. Currency, right? The money library. Data exploration, data coercion, serialization, structures, transformation, databases, Datomic. This is, I think, proprietary though. Datomic. Could be wrong about that. Debugging, date and time, dependency injection, management, diagnostics, documentation tools, distributed programming. Yeah, like there's just, like, what do even half these things do, you know? DSLs, I think it's domain specific languages, I guess, to produce DSLs. EDN is something specific to Clojure, not really Clojure, but Clojure's a superset of EDN as a language, I think. I could be wrong about that. But this is a specific kind of specification for, what's it called? I think data notation. It's a specific extensible data notation. Is that what it means? Hold on. Hold on a second here. Yeah, extensible data notation. Emacs integration. Nice. And you know, you can keep going, right? Even have game development, which is cool. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in here. Just even knowing what all these things are is like, takes its own. Nginx is a package manager kind of thing. It's not really package manager. It's kind of, how do you describe Nginx? It's kind of hard to describe. It's a tool that does a lot of different things, but in particular will help you build and run your program in an efficient way, in a way that's kind of straightforward. Like literally just run it, like Nginx run. Which other programs have other ways to do it that are kind of straightforward, but obviously Clojure is its own. It's a different beast. Math libraries and monad libraries. Monads are pretty interesting too when you're doing functional programming. Functional programming is kind of wild, man. I definitely think it's interesting. Natural language processing, it's pretty cool. Parsing, yeah, anyway, okay, moving on. Right, there's all kinds of stuff. Just knowing what all these things are in the first place is like, already makes you a better programmer. And obviously you can find the equivalents. I think most of this a lot of this stuff is open source. But yeah, finding the equivalents in other languages is good to know as well. But like servers, just yeah, HTTP servers. You can get Nginx, or I think Luminous or Ring is in here. Yeah, Ring, and then Luminous is another one. Luminous. Yeah, it's like a whole project, Luminous. So if you want to build your backend. Anyway. Seems like a lot of things you learn in the field. Yeah. Most of that you pick up, I think, while you're working on stuff. You know, you pick it up as you use it, as you go. But you could learn on your own too, you know, just so that way you don't have to. You're prepared. Like that's the kind of thing I think. Like, if I could go back and be a computer science student again, there's so many details that I was ignorant of and still ignorant of. I'm like really sad about it actually, but there's so much stuff that I could have learned that would have made my life so much better at uni. I don't know what I was doing at uni, man. I don't know what I've been doing my however many years of my life. Like I don't know. Just could have learned so much more. Could have done so much more. But what can you do? Young, what is it? Youth is wasted on the young, right? That's the expression. All right, let's try the next one. Palindrome detector. Okay. Write a function which returns true if the given sequence is a palindrome. Hint race car does not equal race car. Oh? You're suggesting that race car should be true? It's supposed to be true. This is supposed to be false. Okay, interesting. I guess you'd have to join the characters afterwards. Well, you could just reverse. You just check that the collection is equal to its reversed collection. Yeah. That's a function, I guess. So this creates an anonymous function. You just say this input collection is equal to its reversed collection. See how it goes. Okay. Fails. Nice. Why though? Nginx is AWS server. I think Nginx is independent, right? But I think AWS probably uses it. Is it open source? Yeah. Open source. 400 million websites. Holy smokes, there's that many websites out there? How many websites are there? Do people have multiple websites? There's 7 billion people, I guess. Yeah, I guess there's probably a few billion websites out there. Holy smokes, 400 million, wow. Wow. But yeah, this looks like just a basic server program. I don't really know much about Nginx. I've not used it. But yeah, it's probably, I guess AWS probably uses Nginx in some capacity. Interesting. Can even deploy it on Docker. Kind of cool. Web server. Yeah, isn't that what it's, I don't know what it does exactly. I don't know much about it. Resources, so like explanation. FAQ. Feature matrix. Really trying to sell Plus, huh? Licensing. Software subscription. Holy smokes. Okay. So we have a load balancer, HTTPs, TCP, UDP support, layer 7 request routing, active health check, session persistence, DNS service discovery integration. I don't know what that is. Content cache. This is static and dynamic content caching. Okay, cache purging. Web server, reverse proxy, origin server for static, reverse proxy. gRPC proxy, I don't really know what all, I mean I know what gRPC is, but I don't know what this means. It's a proxy. I guess you can use this as a gateway, use this as, you can gRPC into the server, I guess, something like that, or through the server. Security controls, rate limiting, wow. It's got a lot of stuff. JWT, OpenID, application firewall, monitoring, Datadog. Oh yeah, that's another company I was thinking about applying to. I like what they're doing. There was this is a Ruby framework. It's kind of cool. It's called Smashing. No, not that one. Not the band. Okay. I saw this in well, I don't want to say where I saw it, but this program's kind of cool. But basically, it's a framework to build dashboards, especially ones that look good on TVs. And pretty basically, it's a fork of dashing. So you can build a project very quickly, that like a front end, relatively quickly. It's no longer being maintained, and they're saying that a lot of folks are using Dash. They actually, the people who built this in the first place moved over to Datadog. So I figured, all right, well, I thought Smashing was really cool, and if the guys that made it decided to use Datadog, that says a lot about Datadog. That says a lot about what they're doing. So what is this? Maybe I don't want to read up about all these other features, but it's pretty cool. Looks like Nginx Plus is probably what you want for like a probably what you're gonna want for a, what do they call that? Enterprise application. Yeah, something that you're doing on like a big scale, and you have a lot of users and whatnot, and you really want like professional grade, high-end server program, I guess, to serve as a HTTP client, or whatever they call that, a HTTP gateway to connect to your backend. That's pretty much, as I understand, what the server is like there's the backend machine or machines, whatever it is, and then there's the server, HTTP server, and your front end would usually send requests back and forth to your server. And usually, I guess if it's like a super very large system, you might even have like a gateway, an API gateway behind the server, which then routes things to the right programs, something like that. An ingress controller, OpenShift router, modules. Yeah, like I said, like just knowing what all this stuff is like already, I mean, you pick it up over time, but I'm gonna say it's not that it's impressive, but it takes time, all these things. So much stuff involved. Yeah, man. But yeah. Are you saying that AWS uses Nginx? Or are you saying when you use AWS, you'll end up using Nginx? I don't really understand. Or I guess I don't really know enough about it to really, I don't know, fully understand. That's okay. All right, let's continue here. So, Palindrome. Oh, so this wasn't that simple, huh? Really? Really? What? You're kidding. What happens if we do this? This is what, I think this is exactly what was being described. You can't just reverse race car. Yeah. Because it will interpret it as this sequence here. Maybe you can do this though. I have an idea. Can use the fact that we're dealing with immutable things. We're dealing with immutable things, which means we may be able to do this after all. Ah, nice. See how that goes. Sweet. Okay, let's see the other solutions. Flatten sequence. Oh yeah, someone else did that. Wow. I think this is the simplest one. Wow. Every true. Wow, wow. Oh, I see. So map equals. Okay. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I'm not really sure I understand what this is doing. I think this will go item by item and check that all the items are equal in this list and with this first list, and then check if every predicate is true. That's kind of interesting. It's definitely interesting. Put up 3 instances that used Nginx on AWS in 5 minutes using Spring and React. AWS is really easy cloud computing. Wow. Holy smokes. 3 instances that used Nginx on AWS in 5 minutes. I don't fully understand what that means, but I guess that would be like, so I've tinkered with AWS a little bit, not much, but a little bit, because for my own like purposes, I was kind of curious about it. So I guess that would be like 3 servers, like independent servers, each of them using Nginx as like an HTTP gateway, and then Spring would be behind the gateway on the server, and then React would be your front end program that would interface with that gateway in some way. Something like that. I don't really understand. I don't really know. This is just guessing how that would all fit together. Most of these things are one configured now, saving tons of DevOps time. Yeah. It would take a really long time to do that by hand, all of that manually. Take an absurd amount of time. That's how I currently do things. Just do things really slowly. Cause like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really at the point yet where I need to be like bringing up and bringing down different components efficiently, quickly. I feel like you only really need that if you're dealing with like very large scale systems. And by large scale, I mean like, you know, websites that have millions of users, or something like Netflix. Like Netflix is a good example where they have like more than just websites. They've got like a whole boatload of products, I guess, and a whole boatload of users. Ready React, Spring IO, and AWS deployment. I don't know what Ready React is. Great thing is that most of these things are configured. Spring IO and deployment, AWS deployment. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Definitely not bad. And I think Docker fits somewhere in there too. Docker and Kubernetes. Like, there's not enough time in the day, man. Because I wanted at one point I wanted to tinker with each of these things to get somewhat familiar, but I don't have the time, man. Like I'm over here trying to learn Clojure, and I'm like, got no time. Got no time, man. But thank you for sharing that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, man. Getting like comfortable with all these different technologies and how you can use and orchestrate together. It's like really valuable. You really can do some pretty fancy stuff. Do some pretty fancy stuff, and once you get it all together. Definitely. Definitely. Let's see. What's that doing here? Count, reverse, take last, take. Oh, wow. Whoa. Look at this one. How does that even work? So this is... Some of these are kind of funny. You couldn't figure out to just convert this to a sequence, so you reverse this one and then doubly reversed. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Let's see. How about this one? Count divided by 2. Right? Take that many from this collection if that's equal to, so like half of them, more or less half. And I guess it'll be truncated, so it'll be the half not including the middle element, and then reverse, take last and reverse it. Interesting. So he's saying, okay, if it's a palindrome, it's a palindrome if and only if, like, so if it is a palindrome, then the elements that, half of the elements, not including the middle element if it's odd, if you reverse them, they've got to be equal to the other half. So I could have reversed either one of these, but this is, taking the left half and taking the right half, more or less. Take last, because it takes it from the right. Now that's interesting. And then you could reverse one or the other, and they should be equal. That's clever. Definitely more clever than what I did. Not sure which one's more efficient. They're probably comparably efficient. interesting. Okay, I don't know how much more we want to look at the solutions. So maybe do one more problem, then I should go to bed. Yeah, I could spend a lot of time talking about programming and thinking about different possible ways to do these things in Clojure. Half the battle is always configuration for me. So much better these days. Get straight to the programming is always good. Yeah, I think, well, you know, configuration is a seriously difficult problem. Like, I think I would argue programming itself, I don't want to say programming itself is configuration, but I think most of what you do when it comes to development is probably configuration. And like fixing issues that come up when mistakes are made when configuring things. That's like, I think like the majority of programming or development, like, I don't know, the majority of development resources is spent on fixing either badly architected or badly configured, poorly constructed things. Something like that. I don't know. I don't want to, I'm getting a little too abstract here, but yeah, configuration is a seriously important component. We'll just say it's really important. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to make mistakes with configurations. A lot of pitfalls, especially when you're dealing with highly customizable systems with tons and tons of different configurations. It gets really involved, especially if they can conflict with each other, have dependencies on each other, and things of that nature. Yeah, I mean, you could say something about like, I don't know. I mean, we're getting, like I said, it's getting really abstract to the point where it's almost meaningless to talk about it, but in this way. But like, you could say something about like static analysis on like very large code bases where you've got like millions and millions and millions of lines of code, and like you're looking at like, you want to know like how much of the code is being used, like actually useful, is actually being used, and how much of it's like dead code. And you could, in theory, it's not really configuring, I mean, it's sort of reconfiguring how your project is structured and how these things call each other, and you know, sort of modularizing the pieces. That's, I guess you can call it, I don't know if you really call it configuration, but you kind of can, because it's, you know, you basically have like your build file your build has a structure, has a certain configuration, and then the code itself, it's how it's structured, is sort of like a configuration. Anyway, I don't know. We're getting. Sorry, it's like uncomfortable talking about it now in that way. Getting way too too abstract. Too abstract. Sometimes it gets like meaningless. All right, so we want a recursive function to flatten. There's a way to do this. Probably, you know what we can do? We can just say into repeatedly. Oh, there was a function of this, I remember, that was pretty good for flattening. Excuse me. Destructuring, that's what it was. This is destructuring function. It's supposed to use recur to tail optimize, but if we don't use that, we can just use regular recursion. So we can just call it flatten 2, and we'll say there's a collection here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna say first, we're gonna say if just, how do we do this? I want to say if it's not a collection, like it's just a, how do I do this? Excuse me, basically if it's a single element, is there like, is collection, maybe there's a primitive that does this already, something that's already there, COL, oh, that's all I need. Oh, alright, perfect. Yeah, Clojure is kind of neat because it's built on top of Java, and so you can do things like this because the collections have like a Java interface underneath. So that's kind of cool. It's already built in like that. Trying to figure out how to do this without knowing that is like kind of challenging, I guess. Configuration should be a separate thing for IT. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, because the problem is like here. Let me show you what I mean. Like why, like JSON configuration language. Let me show you what I'm getting at here. So here's a good article. It's like worth a read when you have time. But I'll just go to the I'll just get to the meat of this. It's like they talk about JSON being a configuration language and problems, popular. It's popular. There's problems. What you can use instead: TOML, superset of JSON, superset of JSON, superset of JSON. And then at the bottom they say you can write your own DSL for your configurations, or you can use a scripting language. That's kind of the thing, is that like even your programs, like your programs that you write themselves usually consume some configuration files. So like not even talking about like, you know, because there's a lot of different ways you can view configuration, but you know, you can view configuration as the configuration files themselves. You can view the configuration of your, on a systems level, like which instances of different servers you want and which instances of different components of your sort of overarching architecture you want to be, how you want that sort of picture to be configured. And then even you could argue about configuration, not just configuration files that are consumed by the program, but like the program's inherent structure could be sort of configured. That's kind of manually configured, not necessarily configured through any kind of like consumed configuration files. It's sort of like, as an example, your build files are kind of a configuration. Like if you're doing compilation with GCC, you might use make files, which is effectively a series of configuration files. So it's kind of inseparable. Like that's kind of what I'm getting at. So it's like, it's not really, you can't really remove configuration from programming because it kind of is programming in and of itself. It's sort of like a higher level abstraction of programming, which is really weird, and people don't typically think of it that way. Yeah, it's like systems level programming. I don't know. That's actually, sorry, that's a misnomer. That's a mistake to call it that. It's like architecture level programming. Systems level programming actually is extremely low level programming, so forget I said that. But it's more like architectural level programming, which is like, yeah, I don't know, it's not something that I think many people really talk about, or yeah. But configuration's pretty like, it's just an interesting thing. The rabbit hole goes deep. Plenty of rabbit holes to go down when you start talking about configurations, especially configurations that are typed in manually and you can have typos. That really gets interesting, especially if you wrote your own domain-specific language to handle your configurations and you've got typos in that language. and even this domain-specific language could have errors, which makes it even more complicated. Which is one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of domain-specific languages. Although they're used every now and then. Like I know Elasticsearch has its own thing, but I actually learned I learned a scripting language that was domain-specific for. I was programming Warcraft 3 maps when I was younger, when I was a kid. I was pretty into that. And I used what's called JAS and VJAS, which is some like I forgot what it means exactly, but I think the SS stood for scripting shell or something, scripting language. I don't remember. But yeah, like they basically wrote their own scripting language for their game engine that you could use, which I thought was so cool when I was a kid. I was really into it. I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna make some games. It's gonna be awesome. I tried, didn't get very far. I was 15 though, so like that's my excuse. All right. So anyway, so if it's a collection, then we're gonna return. Then we're going to return apply conj. We want to do into. How does this work? No. Okay, hold on. Can we do not? Can we just do if not collection of the collection? Then we can just return this value. Otherwise, what we want to return is flattening of the. We're going to conjoin. I want to flatten the rest of the collection. Can I do it this way? And we want to flatten the first of the collection. Now, I'm not sure if I could do this. So it's not a collection, we just return the value. Yeah. We want to conjoin these things. I think this works. I don't know. I don't know. Also, I have to get used to Lisp syntax here. No, this doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. Definitely does not make sense. Because this is going to be some value here. This is just some number. And then this should, in theory, be a collection of numbers. Which means we actually want to we actually want something more like this. It's going to be into this guy, and we want to more like apply into. Not really what we want. We could do 2, I guess. Or even just this. No, it's got to be a single value. We can make this a sequence as well. And what we want to do is take this flattening portion into the sequence, and then the result of this is a sequence. then we're into the rest of this. Now, yeah, I think it's apply into though. Is what we're. See, that's the thing I'm like kind of stuck on here. No, I don't think that matters. That's fine. Because if this is just a sequence after all, then it should be fine. I think, I hope. Really complicated though. So this I think is the if statement, and then this is the function, and then this should be here. Yeah, then the into. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna work, but we'll see what happens. Spent more time setting up a Hadoop cluster than actually coding the algorithm. Makes sense. The data I was parsing kind of sucked. Spent 4 hours in config files and googling errors. Ouch. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm saying. So you can relate. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think configuration is like more complicated, more involved than. Well, it's a seriously involved portion of programming. Having a cluster already up and pre-configured would have been great. Yeah. I agree, 100%. I think a lot of work can be done to improve configurations, like automatic configurations. I actually think beyond just automatic configuration is like quote-unquote automatic programming, which is the thing it's coming up. People are working on it. It's your quote-unquote AGI, artificial general intelligence. We're not really there yet, but that's a thing, and some people are working on it. I've got some ideas, but I would argue something like if you can automatically configure things, then you can kind of, not that you have automatic general intelligence, but you can get something very close, I guess, something like that. I don't know. I might be talking out of my butt here, but I think automating configuration in some sense, some way, improving that is, yeah, definitely would save people a lot of time. Certainly, I agree. Wrong number of args passed the sequence. Oh, maybe it's just I want this then. I thought I could do that sequence. Don't know how to create the sequence of long. Oh, maybe I should just do this. And then also this should be sequence. No. Wrong number of arguments passed the sequence. I thought I could do that. I guess I can't. Sequence, yeah, you can't. You gotta give it a collection. Are we back? Are we live? Hello? Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened, but my OBS dropped me for a minute. Well, maybe I should do it this way then. Oops. Didn't mean to click that. Maybe I should just do it this way then. Solutions. Just create an array. And I guess it's sequence out of a single number. Don't know how to create sequence from Java long. Wait a minute. What did I do? Okay, if it's not this collection, return collection, otherwise return this into, which is into of, yeah, when you get this many lines, you gotta start doing one of these. Gets a little too confusing otherwise. Oh, that needs a, yeah, that's missing. That might be why also. Could be why. Flatten. So, alright. There's one of these here. So this is here, 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 this one, and this one. And then this one. This should be right. Okay. There we go. Okay. That looks much better. Or at least much more legible. So I think after this I'll go to bed. So it's not a collection, then return the value. Right, otherwise you're gonna push into a vector, new vector, flattening of the first column, first of this collection, flatten it. So get this first value, flatten the value. It might just be a single value. Push that into this vector, and then flatten the rest of the stuff and push that into this vector, the result of this. So why doesn't this work properly? Don't know how to create a sequence in Java long. Because this isn't a sequence. Oh, that's why. Gotcha. I think we just always need to return a sequence, right? Like, is that Stack Overflow error? Nice. Oh yeah, because it's, yeah, because that, okay, never mind. Right, so if we can do count of the collection is equal to 1, right? Then we can just return that. Okay. What? Oh, because, right, That is so confusing. I mean, really the problem is just that you can't use, these things have to be in a collection. I mean, I could throw an if statement in here, I guess. Yeah. I'll try again here. And just throw an if statement in there, it's fine. So we'll say This is going to be so ugly, by the way, this whole setup I'm doing here. So I really don't know how I would do this otherwise. Like, I don't know how to, yeah, I don't really know a good way to do this. There's probably a better way to recursively do this, to do some like destructuring maybe. So if the first of the collection is, if it's not a collection, yeah, so no. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Clojure apply. This is really what we want. Okay. Interesting. Can I do this? I don't know, man. I don't know. Don't know how to create iSequence from Java long. Into doesn't work like that though. Could I do conj maybe? Conjoin? Yeah, that works. Nice. That's what we want. Oh, come on, what? Come on, man. No! No! What do you mean? Nah, I don't know. It's not working. It doesn't work. I need to go to sleep, man. Alright. I think I'm just gonna go to bed, but this is an interesting problem. You kind of want, like, it's not a collection. Then you just return the thing, right? Yeah, I think that's right. If it is a collection, then you want to flatten that collection. You want to split it into the first of that collection and the rest of it. Now, if you flatten the first of it, add that to a vector, and then flatten the rest of it recursively, add that to this result, and return that. And that gives you Also, yeah. It's supposed to be indented a bit. What's the problem though? Why do I need a sequence from Java long? Doesn't this conj work fine? Where is it happening that it needs this sequence? Collection. Think. Shouldn't this be enough? No. 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 Extremely confused now. What happens if you just do this? I don't know what that means. Don't get it. I do not understand. Alright, we can do this. Pain. Not pain, but what do we do here? What did we do? So here's one of these examples. Alright. Okay. So, let's see what happens when we run this. I really need to sleep. Maybe write a working solution in Python and try to port it. You know, I thought about doing that with some previous problems. It's not a bad idea, I agree. But, in theory, I should be able to do this sort of like from first principle in Clojure. For really hard problems where I really get stuck, I would do it. Yeah, I would do it that way. Yeah, I've tried that before. It's an effective way to do it. But I think because what I'm missing here is I don't think I actually know what this does. So if I just do like, let's start with this here. If I just do apply conj of like, I don't know, a whole bunch of values. Something like this, right? What does this give me? I think this should give me a compiler error as well. Don't worry about that for the moment. Oh no, that works. You've got to be kidding me. What? What? So whoa. There's got to be a. All right. So if we're not dealing with a collection, or the count of the collection is equal to 1, then we just return that collection. Otherwise, we apply this conj to the result of this conj to a flattening of the rest of the collection, right? If there is the rest of the collection. Does this work if we just throw in like one of these guys? How does that look? Oh. Could also be. Oh no. Oops. Oh, okay. Most of these both work. Interestingly enough, though, the supply didn't actually. Oh, I see. Oh, that's very interesting. Huh. A few applies later, I guess. Alright, so get rid of this. And we'll say, let's try one more time, and then I think I'm off to bed. So, if it's not a collection, or if it's the count of the collection is 1, then we return the thing, just the collection. Excuse me. And then otherwise, we would apply conj to these two results. Oh, this might not be a sequence though. No, it is a sequence. This conj has to be a sequence every time. This may or may not be a sequence though, which doesn't matter, actually. And this should always be a sequence. And then, oh, this might not always be a sequence though. But that also doesn't matter because we did apply. So this doesn't need to be a sequence either. Okay, fine. So we shouldn't really have problems here. See how we do. See how we do. Oh my goodness, man. Come on, I don't know. I know what's wrong. Some syntax error. What do you mean? What do you mean? How? Why? What? Doesn't tell me what the syntax error is, just unable to resolve symbol flatten 2. It's right here. What do you mean? Maybe we'll just do define function. Yeah, okay. Yeah, never mind. Okay. Don't know how to create iSequence in Java long. Doesn't need one. What do you mean? What do you mean it can't create a sequence? When is it trying to do that? Why is it happening? Huh? What do you mean? What? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's get those print statements in there, man. Now debugging, how to debug Clojure. Okay. At what point does this occur? When? When does this happen? Okay, we get a 1. It's printed. So excuse me. Really? Oh, well, so this should be huh. So somehow exception in thread main 5. First collection 5, flatten 2. If it's a 5, it's got a 1, return 5. Alright, so 5 is returned. We got apply conj of this to 5. Which should not be an issue at all. Right? And then apparently we can't do with the rest. Yeah, this is fine. This works. iSequence from Java long. Which part of my code is requiring this to be a sequence? Where's that happening? Oh, first and rest. Oh, I think that's why. I think I understand. So, oh, is that what's happening? No. No, this is necessarily a collection. It should be fine, right? What is going on? What in the Sam Hill is going on? We definitely don't need this other part. Oh, I really need to go to sleep, man. Oh, this is killing me. Exception 5. So we get 5. It's like immediate, right? I mean, we have collection of this thing. This is if not collection. This thing is a collection. Then we apply conj of do flatten 5. So when you flatten on 5, excuse me, it's not a collection, so you return 5s. This is just a 5, print 5. Let's get 5 here. We apply. Can I not do this? Is that what you're telling me? This just doesn't work? Is this real? Oh, you're kidding. Hey, you can't do it this way. What? Oh. What? Come on, man. Can I at least... I think this creates an infinite loop, though. We looked at this already. So it might just be how we're trying to apply conjoin. We can't actually put single value elements in there. Yeah, it creates a nice infinite loop. Sweet. Like in other words, if there's a 5 here, or even just here, you can't. It's so annoying. Excuse me. Can maybe do like a reduction type of deal? No, reduction's gotta iterate for an arbitrary number of iterations. Gosh, man, I need to sleep. I need to sleep. I need to sleep, man. Use apply if this is a collection. Use. This should be a collection though, right? Like this should return what? No, it doesn't return. Okay. Alright. We'll say it's not a collection. Okay, let's do it this way. If. Okay. It's not a collection, we return this. Otherwise, we say if. The count of this one. Then we'll return it otherwise. Alright, let's try this. I don't know if this will work, but we could try it. Oh. Nice. Doesn't crash. Good. Very good. One more time. How do we do here? Okay. Extremely close. Very close. What's missing? It's not a collection, then we return this much. The collection is 1. Now this could be a collection that's empty. Oh. I'd say it's less than 1. I'll put another if in here. If it's 0, I think we just return, I guess, nil. What do you even return? It's empty set. Do conj nil. Watch this. Oh no. Oh, it works. Cool. Wow. Holy smokes. No. Come on, man. Gotta be kidding me. What do you mean it works here? It works here. What? What? No, man. Oh. The implementation is not correct, I think. You gotta be kidding me. This works fine. This works fine. see how this works. That works fine. It works fine. You have got to be kidding me. It's time for bed, man. So what's different? Oops. You gotta be kidding me. You've gotta be kidding me. How does this work where it doesn't work properly? Why would it work in this context but not in the other context? Ah, that's confusing. Maybe this just needs to be called like with a, I guess, an anonymous function. Or even just throw one of these in there, maybe that's it. And the file. Let's just say anonymous function and then call it with this. What about that? What do you mean? Whole number of args passed. How? I don't know, man. I guess my compiler, for whatever reason, just is able to handle this, but otherwise, excuse me. I guess when you return nil here, conj says it only has one argument and it can't handle. You gotta be kidding me, man. If I do this, what do we get? Still, why is this wrong? This freaking, I can't do it, man. I need to sleep. I need sleep. I need sleep. I can't do it. At least not right now. I gotta work in the morning. I drive to work, man. I can't be staying up this late. Who knows? But yeah, this is the thing with Clojure. I think I don't like debugging Clojure generally. Or at least I don't like debugging it in this thing. This is extremely awkward. This I can somewhat manage because I can throw in print statements. But it works here for some reason, but doesn't work consistently, or it doesn't work here. But I'll come back to this another time. So thank you for watching. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Hope you maybe learned something. And I will talk to you all soon. Have a good rest of your night. And yeah, man, at some point I'll come back to these problems. Oh my goodness, this is like, my brain's hurting now. My brain just hurts now. So, take care.